When you travel the world for a year, you see and experience so much, and we want to share our daily travels with you. Unfortunately, a hard drive failure means we have to tell the middle a little bit differently. So, welcome to Storytime with the Happy Hoppies in this edition of The Lost Episodes.
We're finally telling this story. In the last episode, we just explored lots of Star Wars sets, and we ended the day staying at Luke Skywalker's house. This is where the inside of his house was filmed for the Star Wars set. But as we discussed in the last video, Tunisians don't really necessarily care that it's a Star Wars set. This is just another place of business for them.
In this case, basically a pub.
And staying at the hotel, or actually, I have a lot of disclaimers, so maybe you should start before I do the disclaimer. So
while we were there, I mean, we were comforted to know that there were at least some other backpackers that were staying there that night too, besides us.
Yeah.
What do we guess, like Italy or something?
No, maybe, I don't know.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it wasn't English, so I'm not sure.
It was another language, but it was European.
Again, we didn't really see them that much. We just heard them and we saw them. They were staying in a room that had bunk beds, and then we were in a room that had just a queen size bed. Anyways, so I absolutely love that our videos can be enjoyed by all ages and as a family even watching together. However, I am gonna do a disclaimer for this episode. If you are under the age of 13, please don't watch this episode. Just go watch one of the other ones or go on to the next one. And I also would highly suggest, if you are younger than 16, to have your parents watch this first. And if you still want to watch it and they say it's all right, then watch it with them. Okay, now the disclaimer's out of the way. This is the most horrifying night of our lives, and it's really not fun to recount. And I've been dreading making this video, but finally just trying to make this video and be done with it.
We can smile now about it, obviously.
You can tell that we're both alive, so we don't die, but we didn't know that at the time.
Anyway, so let's see. We had dinner.
Yeah.
And it did start getting a little bit awkward then. Man, how much do we say though?
We're just gonna tell it all. As soon as we got there, I felt anyways, a very spiritual darkness. And I wanted to leave, and we both did want to leave, but like we said in the last video, we felt like we were stuck because it was 30 minutes left of daylight. We were in the mountainous region. It is not recommended to drive in Tunisia after dark. And so it was about an hour to the next big town that would have had accommodations.
So anyway, we sit down, have dinner. Dinner's pretty good. It's very filling. They're giving us all this food.
They gave us so much food.
Oh my goodness, more than we could eat.
Yes.
I managed to finish mine, but I couldn't help Lisa with hers. And
then I
she
felt
had
bad because, and that's the thing, as soon as you finish something, they would bring you more. And I'm like, I don't want to be rude and leave something on the plate. So we're stuffing ourselves. But at some point during dinner, the security guard, who I really liked him, by the way, he came and he asked Peter to go and move his car. It just seemed rather odd, though, at that timing that they would need Peter to go move his car and just leave me by myself.
But he explained it very well. He said, they wanted me to move the car to a different spot where this one guy that was the security guard, could keep an eye on all the cars. So he wanted them all to be next to each other, nice and close. I'm like, okay, he wants to keep the car safe. Sure, great, sounds good. Makes you a little bit nervous about the area, but
Right.
It's okay.
So he leaves, and then I'm not sure, he wasn't the owner, but he was one of the property managers maybe, or somebody. He sent off creepy vibes all over. It was terrible.
Being too friendly to Lisa.
Yes. So as soon as Peter leaves, he comes over and sits down right next to me. So we're sitting at I was at a booth, but it was only just a rock wall. That's what I was sitting on. Yeah, so a bench. So he came and sat next to me on the bench and is talking to me a little bit. He didn't speak any English. So he's trying to talk with me, and I'm just I don't know what you're saying, and I don't feel like I should smile and nod because you're creepy, so I don't know what you're saying. So anyway, so then he left, and then I was still by myself, and it seemed like an eternity for him to go move the car.
And it wasn't that long.
It seemed like at least 20 minutes, okay? So yes. I am processing in my mind, are they taking Peter and like killing him off? Like, I know this is terrible, but like this was the feeling this place gave me.
Now keep in mind, overall Tunisia still is one of the, we still remember it as overall as the people being one of the most friendly people like anywhere in the world. This was just a bad experience.
This is a bad experience that can happen in any country. This is why we're telling you about this, because you go and you might think, so awesome to stay at Luke Skywalker's house. Don't, okay? This is do not stay there. Okay, so anyway, so as Peter's moving the car, like I'm like looking, okay, how am I going to escape this if I need to? And the way that this is set up, it's like you're inside like a cave kind of, but not really. I mean, it's open on the outside. Narrow
it's
rock
built
hallways.
In a pit, basically.
Yeah. So you walk through narrow hallways and then like over here and then over here, and then that's where the meal was happening. And so I knew if they were doing something with Peter out here, they'd come this way. So then I was looking this way for an exit, and I saw like this little like creepy cellar. I was like, I don't know if that leads anywhere, but I'm gonna dash towards there if I need to. So I was so relieved to see Peter when he came back.
So I came back, and then this older dude, he goes and gets some kind of drink, like a coffee or something for dessert.
It wasn't a coffee. It wasn't like a shot glass.
Yeah, but he comes back with two of them. Well, it looks like an espresso.
Yeah, maybe.
He came back with two of them, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be one for each of us. One for me and one for Lisa. He gives one to Lisa, and then sits down with the other one in front of him. Didn't offer me anything.
He sits down next to me, and has his drink and is smiling at me with my drink. Because most of the time if someone gives you something, like, you know, a couple days ago we had been staying with the man that gave us dates, was like, oh, I don't want to take his like precious dates from his family, but he was offering them. I'm like, okay, it's rude not to take them, so, you know, I'll eat those. In this instance, I was like, I am not drinking that. I don't know what you're giving me and why in the world, my husband is right here. Why are you flirting with me in front of my husband? This is just weird, okay? We ended up just like leaving him sitting there.
Well, we politely excused ourselves.
Did we get our picture then or before dinner?
It was before then, I think. So I think before then we got, I don't know if did he ask to get a picture, or we wanted to get a picture with like in the area that we were in. He's gonna take a picture of us or something, and then he wanted to be in a picture with us.
Yes.
Something like that.
I think, I'm not sure if it was before or after dinner, I can't remember the timeline, but at some point, yeah, we handed our camera to him to take a picture of us, and then he handed the camera, after he took a picture of us, handed the camera off to somebody else to then get a picture with us. And so I'm sitting in the middle, and he comes over, and he puts his hand on my butt. And he doesn't move his hand, and so I'm like, okay, maybe he just thinks that's my back, you know, trying to rationalize it in my head, but no. He knew. And I just so wish in that moment I would have smacked his hand and been like, no, because no is a universal word. But I didn't. And so I just then later told Peter, he was touching my butt during the picture.
I'm like, surely he didn't.
I'm like, no, he was touching my butt. And so maybe that happened before dinner, and that's why I was also creeped out that like all of a sudden like he went up to the car. Anyways, so then they lead us to our room, and it's on the second level. And it doesn't have a lock.
Well, there's no door, actually.
Oh,
the door's off the hinges.
Oh, there wasn't even a door. And we're like, we're not staying here.
We're like, no, can we have another one, please, that has a working door?
And so we felt like we were being so difficult because, first of all, we didn't have enough money to pay for dinner, yet they gave us dinner. And then we're like, we need a different room. But I'm like, hello, this doesn't have a door. Like, I need a door. So then they give us a room on the lower level in like the back corner. And this, I'm starting to shake already. And this room does have a door, but a very dinky lock. Like very dinky.
It's basically like a rickety wooden barn door that has like cracks in it, like in the slats of like the wood, and then underneath it. And it's just a little metal thing that you'd have like on a barn gate, basically. That's like this metal hinge that can go up and down and slide back and forth, and that's about it. So
from the outside, you can totally just reach in and come in. So anyways, the bed, it was a very basic room, and so it was shared bathrooms in the facility, and so they were like in like the outside the courtyard. You have to go down the courtyard, and they were over there.
So it's more of a hostel setup.
Yeah, and so the room is just, there was a little table and a bed. And there was white stuff all over the bed. And we're like, this is weird. But what we realized was like they had painted the walls and like the paint had...
Like the plaster.
The plaster had fallen on the bed. So like, okay, well that's just plaster. But then we took the sheets off, and then we see like hair and grossness. So that was one of the very few times when we were very thankful to have our sleeping bag liners with us. And so we used our sleeping bag liners, so we didn't even touch the sheets, but we still were underneath the covers, but we had our sleeping bag liner that we were inside of. I mean, we were exhausted. We had a long day of touring, and so we did fall asleep pretty easily. Until...
Woke up all of a sudden in the middle of the night. It was what time in the morning?
1 a.m.
1 a.m. in the morning to the sound of a really loud male Arabic voice yelling at another guy who was responding a little quieter. And he started out above us, because remember we're down this pit, so you drive up and you're like above, park the car, and then walking down through like the entry point and then towards our door, like loudly yelling, and there's this other guy. So in our minds, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, there's this one angry guy that's coming to get us, and then one of the guys from the hotel is trying to be defensive and like protect us or whatever, but we're like starting to freak out at this point because it was like middle of the night. It sounded very angry and like they were coming straight towards us. Like they knew we were there and like they were coming to get us.
So, although our thoughts are not very rational at this point, I mean, think about it. We were woken up straight out of our sleep, like completely out of our sleep. Someone's coming towards our door. So I'm woken up and I'm immediately like, okay, we are about to be taken. And so I just pull out my phone and I start filming. You can't see anything because it's completely pitch dark. There are no windows in our place. This is how we'll be taken. I will be taken right now, and I hope that I am a strong witness for Jesus. That is what was going through my mind.
Again, I want to keep re-emphasizing, because I know there's people watching this that are gonna watch it that are from Tunisia. And again, we love Tunisia. We definitely would love to go back sometime. Overall, people of Tunisia are one of our top 5 like friendliest people anywhere in the world, any country we've been to. I want to keep saying that because like when we're in the middle of you know, sharing our bad experience and like these places that our minds are jumping through, I feel bad, you know, because it's the wrong stereotype, right? You know, and so I just want to kind of apologize for that, but you know, I felt bad later when we got everything, when we got what she had filmed translated and figured out what was going on. But we don't understand the language. You're woke up in the middle of the night. It does sound angry. It sounds like somebody's charging towards your door. You just freak out. You start thinking all these different things, thinking of movies you've seen or I've seen. Like, it's not good. And Lisa wanted me to admit this. I didn't really want to, but I was actually shaking a little bit, maybe a lot. Anyways.
Yes. So
it was freaky.
I also am like preparing my voice to scream. I'm sitting up in bed at this point and I am swallowing hard and I'm about to scream bloody murder as soon as that door opens. Like, I will scream, and I have a really good screaming voice.
But I'm thinking through everything in my mind. I'm like, okay, well, based on where we are, you know, if there are people that are trying to get us for some reason, I mean, if there's more than one, I mean, if I made it past the first one, I wouldn't be able to make it past everybody else.
Yes.
I mean, like, humanly speaking, there's like, the odds are stacked against us. If it was a bad situation, I was like, the only thing that we have to do is really just, you know, cry to Jesus at that point. And so that's where we're like, okay, that's what's gonna happen. If this door crashes open, we're just crying out to Jesus.
And Peter is shaking, and as he's shaking, he's telling me, stop breathing.
No, not yet.
Stop breathing. Oh,
not yet.
Not
so
yet.
at this point, then what happened is we hear a door to the room next to us open, and then the person goes in, and then we heard some heels going in and out. So then, you know, after a while, you know, we're hearing, okay, something's going on. We hear a woman's voice, hear things happening, and then somebody leaves and somebody comes back after a while.
Because I had checked my clock, obviously, when loud voices came. And in about 25 minutes, I realized what was happening. Obviously, it's a really long time to wait as you're trying to process through what in the world's happening. And then it was about every 25, 30 minutes, there was a changeover in the room. But we realized it was prostitution, most likely, that's what we think, next door to us. And we know for sure it was the door next to us here, but I also think it was the door next to us there.
Well, we knew it was on the left side.
Yeah, and it was also in the corner too.
Maybe on the right side.
We're not sure. But we're like basically in a cave, and like I said, the door was like a wooden door, and there was a very big crack in it. So it wasn't soundproof. Went on for 2 hours. It was a pretty horrid 2 hours. And, you know, also just sad that that's happening. Yeah.
While that's happening, Lisa's like, okay, we're safe, you know, here's what's going on. And I'm like, well, you still should be quiet, because, like, I mean, we don't know who's in there with these ladies. We don't know what their status is or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, if somebody doesn't want to be found out, anyway, they don't want witnesses, right? Again, probably over dramatizing, but I'm just like, so be quiet.
Yeah, so I'm like, but I'm not even like breathing that hard. I'm like laying on his chest and like breathing, and he's like, quiet. I'm like, I'm just breathing. He's like, you need to be quiet.
She was breathing pretty heavily though. So I was just trying to get her to be quiet.
And so during that time though too, like I kind of had to go to the bathroom, but there was absolutely no way I was leaving my door, going into the courtyard, and going to the bathroom. Because even though people were in the room, there was also still somebody standing right outside of our door in the courtyard there, because we could still, you could still like make out their shadow and stuff like through the door. So I'd already concluded that if I had to pee, I was just gonna go pee in the corner, and they would have to deal with it in the morning. But thankfully I didn't have to pee. Yeah,
I was like, please don't. You know, the neat freak inside of me, because I'm like, then it's gonna like run who knows where, and it's gonna get on some of our stuff. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, but thankfully she didn't have to. But then a couple hours after that, so then by like 3 a.m. or 3:30, whatever a.m. in the morning, that stuff finally stopped. But then I heard all this loud music and partying going on like in a different part of the city near us. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But it was just crazy, some kind of midnight,
past midnight.
Yeah, middle of the night revelry going on. I don't know what was going on, but it was just no good stuff.
So Matmata, just don't stay there. It's fine to go travel during the day, I would say, but do not stay there. You can just sense the darkness there. I mean, as sad as that is, and I'm sorry if you're from Matmata.
I'm sure there's probably some light there.
Yes, I'm sure there is. I mean, the people that we met were still very friendly, but if you're from Matmata and you're seeing this, like, I'm sorry to be speaking, you know, poorly about your area, but this is just what we had experienced.
Unfortunately.
Yes, and I really hope that in the future, you know, there can be more light there.
So anyway, Lisa got a little bit of sleep. I didn't really sleep at all at that point. I was just wide awake, just praying and waiting for daylight. I'm like, as soon as daylight comes, we're getting up, packing up, getting out of here ASAP.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. As soon as it was light enough, we got up, probably used the bathroom really quick.
I think so.
Yeah, because we had to go.
I had to go.
We got to drive, so let's just go. And then grabbed our stuff and went out to the car to be able to take off. And then, you know, the guy that was the security guard was like really nice. He's like, no, you get breakfast, like come have breakfast. And we're like, no, it's okay. Or I think we actually did go down for a minute because we're like, well, maybe we can eat it really fast, you know, be polite, go ahead and get something to eat. It would be nice, you know, see what they have. And so we went down there, but then it was taking a long time. So we're like, no, forget about it. We got to go. Yeah. And so we're like, we don't want to wait. At this point, the older guy from the evening before hadn't shown himself. So we're like trying to get out of there before he shows up again.
I didn't like him.
Yeah. So anyway, since breakfast was taking a while, we're like, no, we got to go. And so then we went ahead and took off.
Yeah. And just so you know, so since I had recorded that little bit, later I was able to show it to someone who spoke English and Arabic, and they translated it for us. And what they were saying was, no, it's not this store. Use the next one.
It's not here.
Right.
So so you can't use this room. Somebody's in here.
Right.
Use this room.
So we were right. They were coming directly for our door to use it for the prostitution that was happening, but they didn't know what we were in there. And so when the guard, most likely is the person who explained to them that, no, I'm sorry, someone's staying there, please use this room. Also, we also found out that Arabic people are just very loud. And so, you know, what seemed extra loud to us was probably just
it's just
talking.
The personality is just normal.
Yes.
But like for us, we're like, look, it's the middle of the night. You're at a place that possibly has guests.
Right.
You should be quiet and respectful of other guests, but like it's just part of the culture apparently, which Americans are very known for being loud. So who are we to talk, right?
Yes, I always thought that Americans were loud until I went to the Arabic countries and I'm like, no, they're louder than us. They're louder than us.
Just a little bit. And it depends on what Americans. We're a little bit quieter, but there can be like if you're talking college age, like rowdy kids.
Yes, they're
Americans,
annoying.
Very loud. So 100%. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for them. So that concludes our recap of
The incident.
the most dramatic, horrifying night of our lives
Yes.
to date.
Yeah.
Hopefully ever.
Yeah.
So we'll continue the rest of the day with more happier adventures of Star Wars stuff in the next video.
All right, see ya.